is significantly more. And that's ultimately because they've brought in lifetimes of what could be their full capability of work. And naturally that is a case of money makes money. And I've mentioned that we might need to use quantum computing, or we might need to use methods to track the way the wealth is ascribed to the people who are generating it. Because it is all about distributive wealth. It is about ways to remunerate based off the entire capability that we are making because of the fact that we are greater as a whole. And whilst this video doesn't go into depth on that one, this one is more about personal worth and happiness. But I do believe it's not something that people would be jealous of and needing to shut down. I do think it's something that people would be keen to gravitate towards and therefore get involved. Now, you could say I'm an optimist, but I feel in yesterday's video I sort of said, well, the glass isn't half full, the glass isn't half empty. I'm more of a scientist, and I would say it's twice the size that it needs to be. And again, I didn't coin that term. And I think we're going to be much more capable as a planet. My apologies for the distraction here. I am like a fish in a fish tank, quite amused by the things going on outside. I'd like to think that at some point our model is something that's going on outside to other people's periphery. And so how do they look to it? What's the interest, or what's their takeaway from seeing people in a peaceful state, people being happy? And I think an inquisitive nature would then kick in, and more interest or more motivation to be part of it would happen. Now, all I can see that then doing is rapifying the adoption rate, is that people would want to jump ship to it more and more. And the biggest weakness, I guess, initially is that there's no infrastructure in place to take people on board and get them starting to train up. And that's where I sort of refer to things as wave 1 and wave 2. And so ultimately the steps are fairly straightforward. And I'd rather put them on the Patreon or people that are supporting me there, because they're people who are probably more active to get involved. The notion is we do need a basic admin body, and I've already proposed that Australia is a template or a model that we'd like to roll out elsewhere, and using statistical gathering in that one as to what's more successful to roll out elsewhere, so there's less stumbling blocks in other rollouts. But I also believe that there's going to be a key number of people also around the world that will be wanting to jump on board in their local country. And as I've already said in other videos, that any inbound money towards said organisation, I don't wish to have jump across oceans. I really wish for governments to be able to use the money in their own country that might be put towards this cause to float them in the time being, to create economic stability and to make sure that the people are living capably. Hospitals are working and operating, schools are continuing forward. The things that are needed that a country has to ensure is part of what happens. And the reason why this is all quite possible is that the governments are going to be in exchange with said charity body, said organisation. And so there's things that the government can pave the way for or ease and make said model come about. And ultimately we wouldn't be needing access to the money that would be inbound as quickly as... We'd hit a wall where we wouldn't be able to spend it as quickly as we would have it. And so that I call it a buffer, but that there is needed by world governments right now to basically ensure world peace today. And it's the people who ensure world peace tomorrow. And there's a lot about this vision that it all comes together in a greater package. And I understand in any one 30-minute crunchy video that I can't just pitch it all. But I do on a daily basis, just mostly to show my determination to continue forward and do this. I am here in front of the camera. I understand I could do scripts and I could succinctly say this. And I've attempted to do that in public and get my local politicians down, and I'm having a lot of lack of success getting there in front of people. But I do want to make it all come about quite quickly when it does. And so we generally see that happen. So that's the nature of things going viral. And it does require somebody watching something, recognising there's something in that, and then possibly promoting it. And look, I'd be deeply embarrassed to promote much of the videos that I've made, because it is mostly me making friends with the camera, and again, lack of scripting and a little bit of tripping over myself, sometimes losing my train of thought. It makes the message less powerful. But I feel that any people in the wave 1 that are more, I'd say, compassionate to the nature of me as a fallible human making these videos, can recognise that there might be something in it, some sort of inherent strength. And so they might be interested to follow that on. And so this is what I consider to be wave one people. And I find it sad because I really would like wave one people to be made up of the unemployed and of the homeless. But obviously I've got no infrastructure to reach out to them, and they're probably the least, in a lot of ways, some of those segments would be the least likely to have access to this information or to know that it's out there. They would certainly be bringing the least on board when they come along. I'm expecting the shirt on their back and some hands. So there is a lot of admin that needs to be set up at a few different levels, and that means working internationally, and that does mean working with governments. And at this point in time, we're not there yet. But ultimately, the pitch is it's all about quality of life. And for anyone that becomes fearful when they watch a few of my videos, they might see that the notion is one of the 4 or potentially 5 income pillars is that the gathering of research data is so significant. And unfortunately, in our current paradigm, there's such a negative stigma attached to that I can't say that without people seeing it under the present worldview. But everything in said charity, or it's a not-for-profit, but it's for the people, it's held up by the people. And everybody has an electable vote, and everybody has control over their personal dominion in a way that they can opt in or opt out of all sorts of things. And it really just changes the setup, but it also changes their essential earnings. And there are just so many optional things that a person can get on board with, which essentially means that they are earning more money for said company. And none of the statistical gathering is to be negative. It's not dire stuff, and it's not guinea pigs, and it's not placebos. It's just real world modelling and just looking at the systems that are playing out and what's working for us, essentially, what's working for we the people. And but in terms of, in other videos I've mentioned about the science that we can sell for businesses. And so I think I gave an example with if we're given a lot of solar cells. The notion is that if we are a charity, and a lot of current businesses get tax breaks based on charity donations, and so there's always that component of wanting to align with a business. And obviously if you're a business that could be in an en masse rollout or large scale, having a positive working relationship with said businesses is possibly desirable, and it might be that some of the larger companies wish to get on board. And in terms of what we can offer them, in terms of remuneration, a lot of statistical gathering, a lot of going out of our way, and for us it's, everything all interacts together. So it might be that we've got upcoming students who need to learn about statistical modelling, and having teams of these people on board with great educators, and coming up with clever ways to measure and model and learn something about said donated products. Using the example of solar cells as an example, easy. So, look, I don't wish to make every one of these videos roll a full 30 minutes. I do recognise that there's a mountain of text to get through if a person was to wish to sit through everything that I've put forward. But I'd like to believe that these videos are to be refined as soon as I've got more than a team of just one, and my days aren't just given completely towards trying to promote and get out there in the public space and make these things happen. But look, we do find that when things take off, sometimes they take off very, very quickly. And there is a nature of, I guess, it's nice to think there's a positive virality in the world right now that could be happening. And if that's something that you'd like to believe in or get involved in, please thank you for watching to the end of this video. And look, by all means, if you feel there's some sort of a worth in my words, or if you feel there's some sort of worth in my message, look, maybe watch the first couple of videos. There's a couple of good ones in there. And I guess the later videos I'm a bit more confident in front of a camera, so it might be that there's more there. I do try to label a few of the videos with respective headings, but in just about every video I try to place little breadcrumbs for what is the paradigm shift that is I'm trying to bring about, because it all comes together, and so it needs to be seen together, and it needs to be made up of little digestible chunks, because at the moment a lot of the concepts are foreign to large amounts of people, and some people are stepping to the pace and would probably be like, everything I'm saying is like, spin on with it, this is boring, this is what I already know in my heart is needed. But not everybody's there, and so these videos do have to be something for everybody, and they have to be everything for somebody, and so it's kind of hard to hit all those goals and not be a little bit divergent, I guess, to the ultimate purpose of what they suit. And I'm not a showman, and therefore that's why I'm so thankful if anybody is to spend this time with me in front of the camera. And I guess if in every video I do thanks, it's because I believe that any video that I put up might be the one that goes around. So obviously I need to thank this person who might have just engaged with me for this moment, to acknowledge that yes, these are not the smoothest, fastest message, but with any level of support, some editing and some refilming and some scripting and some much tighter message is very capable of being made and being done. And that is definitely needed. But at this point in time, I'm one person. My time is very finite. I've got a family to provide for, and so I'm needed elsewhere a lot of the time. And that would be this time of day, and so I need to do the things that wake up the family. For your time again, I say thank you, and well wishes with. May you have a glorious day.